Hey guys, this is Light, and welcome to my updated Cleave Aggro flowchart for the end of the RTA season, and quite a bit has changed on it. If this is your first time watching this, so I'm pretty much gonna explain everything as much as possible, but it's pretty hard with this limited format, but hopefully, hopefully the explanation will help. So yeah, so first of all, we're gonna split this flowchart into first pick and second pick. And here's the first pick one, and here's the second pick one, which is not as pretty to look at, but anyway. So if you are first pick, you want to pre-ban City and you want to pre-ban Renek. I know a lot of people will pre-ban City no matter what, but I promise you as second pick you won't need to. But as first pick, you want to pre-ban City because City on 3 as second pick is the best counter to opener on 3. So yeah, we pre-ban City so we can play opener on 3, which is the strongest, and then we also pre-ban Renek. Renek is very hard to deal with because she is the fastest unit in the game and she will kill almost every cleave unit. Unless you are obscenely fast with an Ahmed like 320 speed or close to that, I wouldn't recommend fighting Renek. And typically people who leave Renek open are people who are extremely fast and they're willing to pick Imbrance to just race the Renek. So yeah, if you are really fast and you don't care about Renek, do consider pre-banning. You can pre-ban Bellion to make your free run stronger. You can pre-ban. You can pre-ban whatever you want. If you're that fast, you can pre-ban whatever you want. But Bellion is probably one of the contenders. So like Bellion is one of the most reliable counters to free run. But yeah. But if you are slow like me, then you should pre-ban Renek. She's just too hard to deal with because it's too hard to contest her, and picking speed imprints is really bad. Usually. So yeah, besides that, so we don't want to all-in cleave, so our first pick is going to be a unit that we can anchor down with, and this is kind of in order of priority. So if Lady of the Scales is open, we're gonna first pick Lady of the Scales. This is non-negotiable. This unit is uncleavable. You can't do a lot of other things to her either. This unit is basically impossible to deal with, so yeah. And if she's unavailable, which she most likely will be, the next best is either Arunka to protect your team or Freeren. This one's a little hard. I feel like Freeren is a better first pick if the other person looks like they're aggressive. For example, if the other person pre-bans Harsetti, they're probably looking to play aggressive, in which case you should contest the free run. But if the other person doesn't pre-ban Harsetti and they're, you know, they look like they have like slow player pre-bans, it's probably worth it to just take away the Arunka. And if your Arunka is on Rocket Punch, it's going to be, you know, a good answer to free run if they do end up taking it. So yeah. To summarize, free run is the first pick against aggressive players, but against the slower players, you probably want to take their Arunka so they don't cringe you with like Arunka Illinav, Arunka Bellion, Arunka Maid Chloe, Arunka Ruel, and stuff like that, right? So yeah, it's a toss up between these two, and then if for some reason you don't want to pick them, you can also anchor your cleave with Maid Chloe and Ruel. Sorry, not and Maid Chloe or Ruel. Maid Chloe is very strong. You know, she brings back your cleave units to like, you know, keep pounding them. Ruel is also very strong too. You know, she just brings your cleave units back and then you just beat them up. So yeah. They are very passable anchors. And also, it's very nice to deny them as well. And then let's see, for your second pick, usually usually you'll want to pick some kind of damage dealer, because like you don't want to be pressed for, like, you don't want to be pressed too much later on in your draft. Like if you don't pick damage dealer on the 2, you're gonna have to pick double damage dealer on the 4-5, and it can get really dicey. But yeah, so assuming they don't take free run, of course you're gonna be the one taking free run. And then, you know, if they have free run, you have the option to take Celine as well. Like you can take Bellion to counter the free run. Like all of these options, they're good for their own reasons. Ross is okay if Ross is okay if there's no pen frenzy and the other person doesn't have a Runka, but it's kind of just like a mix and match. And like of course you don't need to pick a second damage dealer if you already first picked free run. You can just pick one of these supports instead. It's honestly just a mix and match, and it'll depend very much on the situation, so yeah. But this kind of, I hope this gives you an idea of what units are the good units that you should prioritize. But yeah, it's pretty straightforward as first pick though, because like the 2-3 is much smoother than like picking a 3-4. And then to accompany your anchor and your DPS, you want to pick a you want to pick an opener, of course. And the premier opener is Ahmed because she's the fastest. And then we have C Lilius, who is very strong at, you know, brute forcing people because she has the best bridge ever in Huayang. Only problem with C Lilius though is that she's slow. She's only 120 speed. Ahmed should be outspeeding her as long as you're not gear gapping people. She's even slower than Bryceria. So yeah, C Lilius, very good if you are really fast. Bryceria is an option if the enemy early picked Maid or Ruel. If the enemy went like what's her face, like Maid Chloe in their first 2 picks, I would just slam Bryceria. And if you have a free run on your team, free run plus Bryceria is super strong, because free run gives fighting spirit to Commander Pavel, which means he will instantly proc when Bryceria presses S3, and he will proc before a unit like Dillybet cleanses. So it's really strong. And then if for some reason Ahmed is not available, you don't like playing C Lilius, and you have no reason to pick Bryceria because they didn't pick a reviver, DJB is actually pretty good. Although I wouldn't recommend picking DJB unless you already have one of the revivers, because he is notoriously weak into revivers. However, you can pick extinction units with him pretty easily. So he's not too bad. But yeah, DJB, he also threatens the other person by like making them not want to pick protections at night, and if they happen to pick one, it'll be pretty good for you. But yeah, DJB is like budget Ahmed. However, he can be decent. He can be decent as like a reverse Cleave unit too. Cause like say they picked Ahmed, say they stole your Ahmed or something, and then you pick DJB and CR Cutter to like disrupt them. It can be pretty good. However, sorry, keep in mind that these units, they have to be fast. Like I'm talking like at least 300 speed, right? And in upwards depending on what rank you're going for. I play Ahmed with 311. It's okay. I fight enough slow people to, you know, be fine. I play DJB at like 290 something. I play Bryceria at 310. Like it's good enough for legend for me. However, it's good to be as fast as possible. But yeah, and then a lot of options for your 4-5. Like this is where like experience comes in, and like how good of a player you are. Like it's all about experience. And so yeah, so let's say the other person is picking a lot of tanks. Like typically really tanky units are weak to debuffers. And or let's say someone's picking like really greedy units as well. Let's say they're not picking Illinev or something. Like you can punish them with like strays, or let's say they're playing Setsuka, you can punish them with Lionheart. Like this is all extremely situational. I really like strays though. Like strays is probably one of my more picked damage dealers, because like strays can brute force an Illinev. Let's say you have Omid and you have a triple torrent strays, he can actually brute force through the Illinev to be a reliable damage dealer. But yeah, so this kind of just depends. Like for example, yeah, you only pick strays with Omid if he's slow, but if your strays is fast, you can pick him with C Lilius, Bryseri, and DJB as well. You know, Ellie Ghost is good against Setsuka, Lionheart's good against Setsuka, Opsig is really good if there's no pen resist of any kind, and TML is playable if you need extinction, Mort is playable if you really need anti-counters, and yeah. And wait, honestly, if you want, Lee Bet is also pickable. She is an extinction. She does do a lot of damage, but she's weak to the Pen Frenzy, of course. So yeah, a lot of DPS options. And then of course, like you have your debuffer options. Fumir. If you're playing anything besides Ahmed, Fumir is a decent choice. Fumir is not too good with Ahmed though, because she is blue and they can mess up like their elements, or like you could have too many of the same elements. Fumir is just solid if they don't have a good cleanser. Like 2-turn sleep, 2-turn defense break, really nothing to laugh at. Then we have Luna. Luna is really strong. She turns people's passives off, and that means stuff like Fire Ada can't do anything. Units like Yuha can't do anything. I know people will pick Yuha into free run, and the easy counter to her is just slamming Luna and turning off the Yuha's reflect, right? So Emma Luna will always be good at turning off someone's team. And of course we have Tenebria. If someone's picking like, you know, standard cleansers like Maid Chloe, Ruel, like they're gonna get completely screwed over by Tenebria. So yeah, Tenebria is really good for that. And then yeah, Tenebria is just the best debuffer overall. And there's actually some argument to put her way up here as like an anchory debuffy option. It's up to you though. You can consider her a damage dealer as well, because her rupture makes your whole team damage dealers. And people will make fun of me quite a bit for having Tenebria as my only damage, but you know, she makes your whole team do damage, so she's pretty significant. But yeah, very threatening unit. Probably the best debuffer in the game. And then if for some reason if for some reason you need to like provoke log people, Emma Lua is also a thing. Like high effectiveness Lua is really nice. If you have soul burn from free run, like Lua is super nice. If you need DDR to just kill someone with injuries, he's also playable. And of course there's always Emma Rowana to like reset people like a Miki to make them useless, etc. And Blue Hua Young is strictly for C Lilias because you want to build her very slow, or else she loses a lot of her potential. But if you happen to have a fast Blue Hua Young, if you happen to have like a second Blue Hua Young, you can build her fast and pick her with Ahmed. It'll help you bridge your team quite a bit. And then oh yeah, honestly, Bryceria is like the most fun opener. Like if you play Bryceria and you have free run, you can slam Commander Pavel. You can slam Shuri, who's pretty good at killing free run. You can slam Jacko. You can slam Emma Ara, like Emma Ara for Bryceria Soulburn, and just kill everything, stun everything. Really nice. Flan is also really good with Bryceria because people will try to counter the Bryceria S3, and then if you just pick Flan, you can just gun them down one at a time and not worry about AoE. Flan is very good. Ludwig's also very good if you have free run. You know, you can like just soul burn and then go boom with his ulti, yada yada. Then Caesarea, you know, AoE defense break strip, can't go wrong. Like Caesarea will follow up on it really well. And and then Yuffie's like a different kind of Jacko pretty much, but rarely should you pick her when Jacko's a thing. And then we have some units that are honestly I'm not sure if I really recommend picking them outside of Ahmed. You can argue like you can pick Milim with DJB as well, but yeah. Siege Vivian does a lot of AoE damage, and she doesn't get mitigated by any of the frenzies, which is a huge plus. But you do need to build her pretty slow to make her do enough damage. That's why I only recommend her with Ahmed. And Milim's a decent what's it called? Milim is a decent extinction option, but she doesn't do much damage. But she's decent with DJB because DJB doesn't give attack buff, but Milim can just soul burn for attack buff into S3. Yeah, decent extinction option. A little hard to use though. Then we have Ada. A very slow Ada is also very good AoE. So you can build her extremely slow because of the way her passive works. Ahmed will give her an insane amount of CR. And she'll do insane AoE damage, like as much or more than Vivian. And we have Mo Shu. If your Ahmed is on the the Green Senya artifact, which he should be, Mo Shu is really strong at just killing people who are really tanky. Cause like she'll cycle so fast, and like no one will be able to keep up unless they have units that can do enough damage to kill you. Yeah, Shu really good with Ahmed. And then so let's say the other person's like trying to cleave you, right? So these are all the units that you can slam against people who are trying to cleave you. Like let's say you have Ahmed on 3 and then some animal slammed like Sea Lilius plus Blue Hwayoung. Like screw that, you're not gonna let them do that. You're gonna like slam imprints to race them, or maybe I don't know. You're gonna pick like Green Celine to stop their stupid Hwayoung, or maybe yeah, you should just race them. Or like I don't know, maybe you can Zeo them. It just kind of depends. Like these are just units that you slam to counterpick, and it's very hard to explain them because it's all based on experience. Like if you're racing someone who clearly has the disadvantage, you can just slam imprints. If you're fighting a Zeo picker, you can just slam Christie. If you want to stop someone's bridges, you can slam Yuffie and Politis. If you need to stop like Emoteyu or something, there's Emopoli. Like if you just say screw it, I don't care anymore, you can just pick Setika, Keiron, hope they 1v4, Yuha, like Yuha can kill people 1v4. There's Ada 2 with Warhorn. There's Hwayoung to solo people who have way too many debuffers or low damage. A Miki, yeah, Miki can 1v4, a Tywin, whatever. Like he stops Emo Ball from sleeping you, etc. And then there's Emo Ball himself who can cut enemy cleavers. Yeah, a lot of options for anti-cleave. It's just it's just preference, right? It's just experience. So yeah. Well, I hope that gives you a pretty good foundation for playing as first pick. But now we have to move on to second pick, and being second pick is definitely the hardest thing in this game because there's no pretty way to express this. So as second pick, we must ban Lady of the Scales no matter what, because you can't do anything to her. Like flat out, you can't do anything to her. That's like consistent, right? So we're gonna pre-ban Renak and Lady of the Scales, and Renak is basically for the same reasons. Renak stops us from racing. However, if you are a speed demon, just pre-ban Harceti instead or something. or anything you want, to be honest. Maybe even Bellion. Literally anything you want if you are super fast. So yeah, this is where we get into the nitty gritty. So The second pick is hard because you have to respond to the enemy's first pick, and then you have to respond to their ban protect, right? And that takes a lot of experience, but hopefully I can give you a guideline on how to do that. So let's assume that they first pick Arunka, which is great. Then you can get the very nice free run Bellion combo. But in the case where Harseti is not available, you'll want to actually take free run plus Ahmed, because you don't want to give them Ahmed on 3. Otherwise you can't race it, and then you have to run away, and then it gets botched. I would highly recommend taking away the Ahmed, because it'll probably confuse them as well. And it doesn't really hurt to pick 2 openers either. And then so yeah, that's 2 cases that we can work with. And then let's say they first picked free run or something, which is very common as well. I would recommend Bellion if she's available, and Arunka if she's available. But if neither of them are available, or if only one of them are available, you can also pick Setsuka into free run. And I have a video on this on my YouTube, but I think a high-speed debuffer Setsuka is actually really strong against free run, because she can neuter her damage, but also you won't have to worry about her counter picks like Lionheart, Sermia, and Mort, because this Setsuka is only there to debuff and help you kill them. So yeah, no, Setsuka is an option. Bellion is ideal. Arunka is an option. If there's nothing else, you can also just go, you can also slam an anchor like Ruel or May Chloe. And then, you know, if free run happens to be, you know, pre-banned and Harseti is available, you can go Ross and Ilinav. Because, you know, Ross does a decent amount of damage still, and Ilinav will allow him to do his damage. And then in the case where Arunka is not available, as in the enemy is pre-banning her as as first pick, then these units become way better, because like Arunka hard counters these units, right? Like they're very single target centric, and Arunka just screws them over. But if Arunka is if Arunka is pre-banned, you'll probably want to pick one of these as well. Like Celine's very strong, Huayang can be very strong if they like early picks May Chloe. Flan can be really strong, especially when Harseti is available. Flan is the ultimate Harseti unit. And yeah. And if for some reason none of these scenarios apply, just mix and match these units. Literally, just mix and match these units, but you always want to pick one of these 3 and then one of these, or you can even pick 2 of these if you want. If like, it just depends. And then as second pick, you will have Harseti available, but it's okay. Harseti is a bad unit unless you're second pick. So let's say Harseti is so you have a few options. So let's say, so Ahmed of course is like, you know, the standard choice. If you pick Ahmed on 3, I would recommend accompanying her with a debuffer like Luna or Tenebria. And you know, if Arunka is not available, the Fire Flame is also an option. But yeah, with Ahmed, you usually go one of these 3. If you want to pick C Lilies on 3rd for whatever psychotic reason, she's quite good with Huayang and with Fire Flan. So that's an option. I guess you can also pick these debuffers too if you want. And if you have free run, if free run is on your team, and the enemy did not pick an opener, I would recommend Bryceria plus Commander Pavel. Otherwise, if the enemy did pick an opener, you can go Bryceria plus Shuri to race them because he's a speed imprint. But Bryceria is much harder though if Harseti is available because she's kind of weak if the other person slams like Harseti plus Zio, cause like her bridges don't like, you know, they're not resistant to anything. And then we have DJB. If Harseti is available, DJB is pretty safe in turn, to be honest. And you know, DJB, he's resistant to stuff like Fire Politis because he has 3-turn immunity, which is really nice. Sorry, he has 2-turn immunity, but the immunity buff stops him from getting stunned by Politis. Now, DJB is an option. He's quite safe when Harseti is available. And then you, of course, you're gonna pick him with like one of the white mages or Fire Flan. And then for Aram, so we only pick Aram. We only pick Aram when the other person locks Harseti on 3. And if we pick Aram, we typically want to pick Aram with Fire Flan or with Ruel. Because if we pick Aram, we're going to proc, and then, you know, sorry, we pick Aram against Harseti, and then we're guaranteed to proc. And then we just use Ruel to, you know, keep our team alive, because like Aram can reset Ruel's revives, and it's extremely toxic to deal with. This is my I don't know if it's original, but I started doing it and I've never lost with it. Aram plus Ruel is a really good combo. Aram plus Fireflan is really good if there's no Arunka. And Aram plus Debuffer is also really good, but Ruel is definitely the safest. And then you can close out your Aram draft with either Blue Hwayoung if they didn't pick Fireflan, or you can close out with like Black Aiden. Sorry, let me find her. You can also close your draft out with Dark Aiden. But yeah. And then if the other person is picking like 1 or 2 openers and Harseti is available, the best way to punish them is by picking Harseti plus Fireflan. Harseti on 3, Fireflan on 4, you flick them with a booger, and then they just drop dead. If they're greedy enough to play opener on 3 when Harseti is available, you just pick Harseti plus Fireflan and then they're dead. And in the case where Fireflan is gonna get banned, you also want to have Summer Charlotte ready, because Summer Charlotte is a substitute for Fireflan because she can dual attack with Harseti to smack the other person. And just kill them, you know? So yeah. Yeah, that's how you play Harseti if you're forced to. And then yeah, and this is not gonna make sense unless you actually watch this part of the YouTube video. So that's why I have this here. So yeah, this is how you play these units when you're you know, your unit pool is these units. And then of course your last pick is just like whatever you can pick to make the other person, you know, die. And they'll most likely be banned if your last pick is good, right? Like you just need to use your culmination of knowledge to decide what the best last pick is. Like you need an extinction unit, let's slam some extinction units. You need some raw damage, let's slam some raw damage like Strays or Vivian. Like you need like a 1v4 unit because someone's cleaving you, just slam a Miki. Like you need to disrupt someone, slam ML Ball. You need to debuff someone to death, like slam any debuffer you didn't pick yet. Yeah, that's how it is, right? It's experience, and I wish I could give more examples, but this part is up to you. You have to be able to play and see for yourself. But yeah, that's about it, I think. I hope it was helpful, and good luck on your season climbs. Please ask any questions in the comments. I will answer. And I will post a video on how to build units later on after I actually re-gear my account. But yeah, thank you for watching. Hopefully it was helpful.